What's going on, YouTube world? Today we're going to be going over 4 tips that are going to help your item stand out on eBay so that you can have more sales. Let's get into the video.
Tell us about yourself.
My name is Jason, aka Mr. Llama, the not-so-better half of The Lazy Llamas, which is the eBay store that I run with my wife, Mrs. Llama. We started selling on eBay part-time 3 years ago, and we grew our business from $0 to $10,000 a month in sales in less than 2 years.
2 years?
eBay is an extremely competitive marketplace, and if you're listing high in-demand items like you should be, that means you're going to be going up against dozens and sometimes even hundreds of similar items to yours that you have to compete against. And so you have to make sure that your items are going to stand out against all the rest so that they can sell very quickly. But these 4 tips are going to make sure that buyers are much more likely to click on your item. Let's start with tip number 1, and that is good picture and good title. Now, a picture has to have 3 things: good lighting, a plain white background, and 1:1 ratio format. You want your pictures to be well lit. You don't want them to be dark. You want your buyer to be able to see the picture clearly.
What am I looking at here?
You want the picture to have a plain white background. eBay likes your pictures to have a plain white background. I'm told that it helps the algorithm and helps your items show up more often. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what an algorithm is.
Who can give me an example of an algorithm?
Or what that even means. I just know that it looks better to have a plain white background and well-lit photos. Also, when you go in, I use my phone, my eBay app, to list all of my items. I do everything on eBay through my phone except for shipping. Shipping I do from the computer, but listing I do from my phone. And when you take pictures on your phone on eBay, it gives you 2 options, 4:3 and 1:1. Why they give you the 4:3 option, I don't know. I've never used it. There might be a reason for it. If you know the reason for the 4:3 format in the app for eBay pictures, when it's said that eBay likes the 1:1, let me know in the comments. But I always use the 1:1. I'm told that's what eBay likes. That's what I've always used. So there, you have 4:3 or 1:1, so just use the 1:1 setting and take all of your pictures in the square 1:1 format. As far as good titles, really, it's not rocket science. I know a lot of eBay resellers do dedicated videos to titles. I think titles are important, but I think you can't overthink it. I think as long as you're using the brand, the model, the size, the color, descriptive words that are specific to your item, you really can't go wrong. The only thing you need to avoid is emojis or symbols or things like that. So just use words to describe your item. Some resellers say you have to use up all 80 characters. I usually use most of the 80 characters, if not all, but not always. So don't just put random words in there to add to your title if they don't add to the description of the actual item. And a good cheat early on, and I did this, when you go to sold comps for items, look at their titles. If you look at the top 10 sold comps and they all have very similar titles with similar words, just copy theirs.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Obviously that title's working because those items are selling. So, it's okay to copy and mimic on eBay. If you see a title, if you see the top 10 sold listings have similar words in their titles, just use those words because apparently that's working. So now we're going to move on to tip number 2, and that is listing your items as free shipping and free returns. Now, I know that these can be very scary for new sellers, especially free returns, but hear me out.
I'm listening.
I recommend listing as free shipping. For one, I think it's a psychological thing. This isn't something I can prove. I just believe that in today's era marketplace, people just expect free shipping. I don't know if it's like the Amazon Prime effect or what it is. I think people just want free shipping.
Well, I think I deserve it.
That's what they expect. They like to see that little green free shipping badge on the item, and I think people just look for it. I think it's a psychological thing. Even if it's not going to save them any money on the actual product, they just like free shipping. Like I said, can't prove that. But there is an empirical evidence I can give you that free shipping actually will lead to more sales. When people search for an item, like they go to the search bar on eBay and they type in an item and they're looking for your exact item, they can do filters and they can filter out paid shipping. They can look for only items listed as free shipping, and buyers do this. They absolutely do this. I can see buyers filtering out paid shipping because they think it's going to save them money. I can't imagine a scenario where a buyer would filter out free shipping. But buyers absolutely select free shipping and filter out paid shipping. So if you're listing an item with paid shipping, you won't even show up in their search. So you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage as a new seller.
Well, that's not what you want.
And you need all the advantages that you can get as a new seller. So in my opinion, anything under £1 should automatically be listed as free shipping. Under £1 is first class and will cost you at most $3 to $5 to ship. So just build that cost into your item. So instead of listing an item at $10 plus shipping, listed at $14 with free shipping. So it's not going to be a different really in cost to the buyer, whether they get the one with $10 plus shipping or the one with $14 free shipping. But like I said, I believe there's a psychological effect that free shipping is more appealing to buyers. And also, if that buyer is looking for your item, but they filter out paid shipping, your item will not even show up. Now we're going to move on to free returns. And this is the one I get the most pushback on.
How dare you!
How dare I? How dare I?
I understand that free returns are scary. And I did a video on return policies and how you should handle return policies as a seller on eBay. And in that video, I talked about how 99.9% of eBay buyers are good, honest people that just want a good product at a fair price. I've been selling on eBay for 3 years, and my return rate is extremely low. I have not had a single return all month. And I know I'm probably jinxing myself, and I'll probably have one as soon as I'm done recording this video. But the point is, like, my return rate is so low. And that's because I'm taking good pictures, I'm making good descriptions, I'm, inspecting the items, including any flaws in the descriptions, packaging them well so they get to the buyer exactly as they expect. So buyers are happy, and so they don't return the item. Like, you don't have to worry about returns really as a seller. Like it's as long as you're being a good seller and you're inspecting your items, returns are not going to be a big factor. It's not as big a factor as you think it's going to be. I remember thinking about it when I was a new seller and being scared about returns and thinking that everybody is a scammer. It's not true. Most buyers are good, honest people that just want a good product at a fair price, and that's it.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better.
Now I'm going to tell you what my general rule is when it comes to free shipping and free returns. Anything under £6, I automatically list as free shipping and free returns, regardless. I pretty much know what they're going to cost to ship. I mean, dimensions come into play a little bit, but anything under £6, I'm listing as free shipping and free returns. Over £6, case-by-case basis. There are times when I will list an item over £6 still as free shipping, free returns. It just depends. But at that point, I might do buyer paid and buyer paid returns and buyer paid shipping. But under £6, which is probably over 90% of what I sell, absolutely free shipping, free returns. Now you can do your policy differently. Like I'm just saying under £1, I think it's a no-brainer for free shipping, free returns. But, over £1, you do what you feel comfortable with. Like, I've been doing this so long.
Look who knows so much.
That I know, what I'm comfortable with. And under £6, usually isn't going to be any more than $10, $12, dollars to ship on average. Depending on dimensions too, but usually 10, 12 pounds, can get up to the $15, shipping range. But I'm okay with that very minute chance of getting a return on an item that's that much to ship. It happens so rarely that it doesn't even really, I don't even think about it. And I just think it makes those items look so much more appealing than other items that I'm willing to take that very, very, very minute risk. Over £6, you can start to vary very greatly as far as what your shipping costs are going to be if it's going to somewhere like California. I'm in Tennessee.
We're in Tennessee.
It can have a price range on shipping, a gap from $15 to up to close to $30 when you start getting up to that 10-pound range and higher. So at that time, it's a case-by-case basis. And I'm getting a little bit into the weeds, and I apologize, and I might edit this out. I don't know.
Guess not.
But it is good information to have. But don't be afraid of free shipping and free returns, especially on items under £1. And as you get more comfortable as an eBay seller, you will start to realize that offering free shipping and free returns is not nearly as scary as you think it is. And now we're going to move on to tip number 3, and that is a competitive price. This is going to come from doing your research. When you're listing an item, of course, you're going to check sold comps, and you're going to come up with a price range for the market value for your item. Now, let's just say for this example, the price range on this item is $20 to $25. That's the range you're seeing them sell in. So you can pretty much list it anywhere within that range and be in the market value for that item. You don't want to be at the top end of that market value as a new seller. You're going to be going up against, a lot of sellers, a lot of them with good reputations and good feedbacks that are going to have a competitive advantage against you. So you have to get a competitive advantage against them. And that's how you want to list your listing towards the bottom end of the market value. Now, don't undercut the market value. Don't sell yourself short. Make sure your margin is still going to be good. So if you need to list it in the middle range, or towards the top range, to make sure that you're going to make a good enough profit on that item, I understand. But you also need to understand that you're putting yourself at a disadvantage because then you're going up against buyers who are priced at the top end of the market value, and they're pricing themselves at the top end of the market value because they are established sellers with good track records and feedback, which is giving them an advantage over you.
Yeah, it's a classic power struggle.
So you are losing that advantage. But if your margins are still good and you can price yourself at the low end of the market value, list it, if it's $20 to $25 range, list yours at $19.99. That's still right at the bottom end of that range, and it gives you a competitive advantage. And as I mentioned before, you need all the advantages that you can get as a new seller. You have no feedback, no track record, no reputation. So you have to give the buyer a reason to choose you over other sellers. So this is one way to give yourself a slight competitive advantage over other sellers, is by pricing yourself right at the bottom end of the market value of the item. And as you become more established, you can start moving your way up into the mid-range and upper range of the market value once you get established and have feedback. And then buyers will choose you just based on your feedback. Even though you might be a little more expensive, they will make the choice of your item because they trust you as a seller because of your feedback. But that's just an advantage you don't have in the beginning. Okay, now it's time for the 4th and final tip. And this is what I call the 88-cent trick. I mentioned it in a previous video. I didn't really go into detail. I thought about doing a video on this, and so I decided not to do a dedicated video to this, but I was going to include it in these tips. The 88-cent trick is simply this. All of my listings end with 88 cents. And I do this because the most popular cents that prices end in is 99, 97, and 95. So, like we talked about earlier, when buyers filter out their search for an item, they can also filter out not only, filter out paid shipping or filter out buyer paid returns or no returns. They can also filter listings to go from least expensive to most expensive. So the cheapest items will show up at the top of their search. So if somebody has a listing like we talked about the last one at $19.99 and I list mine at $19.88, my listing is going to show up ahead of theirs.
Oh, you are sneaky.
So this gives you yet another competitive advantage. I started doing this early on in my eBay business, and I've just done it ever since. It seems to work. I've created a successful eBay business, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm not sure how much of a competitive advantage it really gives me, but it seems to work. It makes sense. I know people do filters when they do searches, and I can absolutely see somebody filtering the cheapest items first because they want to get the best deal. And if you're even 10 cents cheaper, you're going to show up ahead of another item. Even if you want to list yours at 87 cents, as long as you're under that 99, 97, or 95 cents, that's by far the most popular and that you see on most listings. As long as you list yourself below that, it's going to give you a slight competitive advantage, in my opinion. It's worked for me. I think it will work for you. So if that's something you want to implement, I say it can't hurt. You're going to be going up against a lot of stiff competition, including me.
Oh, it's on.
But that's fine. I think Marketplace, as while it's it's a very competitive marketplace. I love that it's open. I love competition, and I don't mind sharing my secrets that I've learned with you. I really just want you all to be successful. And I think if you use these 4 tips, it will definitely help increase sales and lead to success on eBay. And we're going to end the video there. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, just make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can see when we post future videos. I am going to leave a link to that return policy video that I did, so you can check that out. It goes over, return policies and how to handle return policies as a seller on eBay. And in case you don't know, God loves you, I love you, and we'll see you next time. Peace.